Okay, welcome everybody to tonight's meetings. We actually have a public hearing that we're going to take care of ahead of the City Planning Commission. I'm not thinking it's going to take very long to get through that, but it is a conditional use permit. In this case, we require a public hearing for that. So I will call this public hearing to order. In attendance, we have Commissioners Olson, Mayor Brian Smith, Justin Behrens, our Public Works Director, and also a voting member of the commission, Dana Gusky, Jake Waller, and Henry Veliker. We only have one commissioners that is unable to attend tonight. That's Angela Lesage. So we do have a quorum, even though we don't necessarily need one for a public hearing, but we do have a quorum. So this request for a public hearing is a conditional use permit for Waupaca Foundry for the address, which is 600 Industrial Drive. For those old timers around here, that would be where the Ad Inc. building is in the industrial park. And it's come to our attention that they are renting out that building to Waupaca County, as Waupaca County does their remodeling, and so they needed some office space. And so their foundry is renting this out as office space in an I-2 heavy industrial district. And there's a requirement that you have a conditional use permit to be able to have offices in an I-2 area. So if you look on page 2 of your packet, commissioners, you'll see that I just summarized really what's happening there is that they're asking that that they are allowed to rent out offices at 600 Industrial Drive. So at this time, we would take testimony in favor of this conditional use permit. If there's anybody in the audience that would like to speak in favor of this, please step up to the podium, give your name and address for the record, limit your time to 3 minutes or less. Anybody that would like to give testimony in favor of? That's why you're here tonight, right? Okay.
Yes, good evening.
Hi.
Ryan Brown, Planning and Zoning Director, Waupaca County, 811 Harding Street. So exactly like you had described, the courthouse is going through a remodel project, and so we need to find a place to put the workers while we're going through the construction project. And so what we're looking at, luckily, the old Buyers Guide building that is now owned by Waupaca Foundry has agreed to a lease with Waupaca County. So right now, the Department of Health Services is the department that is in that building. And so we're going to be, it's roughly 200 employees that are there. They're only going to be there for as long as it takes for the courthouse remodel project. As soon as the courthouse is finished, they're all going to be reverting back down the road, back to their new offices, and they'll go back to what it was previously.
All right. So you're obviously in favor of this conditional use
I am in
permit.
favor of this application.
All right. Thank you, Ryan. Is there anybody else that would like to give testimony in favor of this conditional use permit? Hearing none, is there anybody in opposition to the conditional use permit? Any opposition? Hearing none, I'll declare this public hearing closed at 5:19 p.m. Ryan, that is our first action item under the Planning Commission, so it'll just be a couple minutes here. All right, let's go right into the City Planning Commission meeting then. Welcome everybody to tonight's City of Waupaca City Planning Commission meeting. Today is Wednesday, July 2nd, 2025. It is 5:19 p.m. and I'll call this meeting to order. In attendance tonight are members Mayor Brian Smith, Alderperson Eric Olson, Henry Veliker is also an Alderperson, Justin Behrens, our Director of Public Works, Dana Gusky and Jake Waller. As I said before, Angela Lesage is unable to attend tonight. You have an agenda on page 1 of the packet. We don't have any adjustments that we are to make to this, so we'd be Looking for a motion from the floor to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Motion by Olson, second by Waller, that we approve the agenda as printed. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say no. Motion carried. Number 3 on there, this is the approval of the Planning Commission minutes. These are from May 7th. Remember, we did not have a June Planning Commission meeting, so that's why we're going back to approving the May 7th minutes. We only look for a motion to approve these just so we can place them on file. So again, we'd be looking for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Gusky, second by Olson, that we approve the Planning Commission minutes from May 7th, 2025, plus the public hearing minutes from May 7th of 2025. Any discussion on that? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. Under action items, this is number 4A. This is a conditional use permit for Waupaca Foundry Incorporated, the owner of the property at 600 Industrial Drive. Waupaca County is actually the applicant, and I'm just going to repeat this real quick. Waupaca County is requesting to rent the building that's at 600 Industrial Drive. This is in a zoned I-2, Industrial 2 District, so it does require a conditional use permit to be using it as offices. And we did have a public hearing beforehand. We only had one person that spoke, and he spoke in favor of the project. We had nobody against that project. So unless you have any questions, we would be looking to approve this conditional use permit. Oh, I'm sorry, recommend to council this conditional use permit. I do have to tell you, this is, they're already in there. So if you've noticed that, they're already in there. So this is kind of after the fact type thing. But it still needs to be done. Okay? So we're not in any real hurry to get it done, so this will get approved at the August, or the July 15th council meeting. Okay? Anybody want to make a motion?
Move to recommend the conditional use permit for 600 Industrial Drive as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Veliker, second by Behrens to approve the conditional use permit for 600 Industrial Drive, Waupaca County as the applicant. Any discussion?
I was just going to say, working at the foundry, I'm thinking maybe I should abstain.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just note that I've noticed some improvements to the parking lot and the entryway. I think they're probably for safety reasons. So I think the foundry's trying to be a good neighbor.
That parking lot
I'd
was
just like
rough.
to
Yeah.
make note of that.
That's good. Awesome. All right, let's just do a voice because we have one that's, so let's start with you, Henry. In favor?
Yes, yes.
Jacob? Dana?
Yes.
Justin?
Yes.
Mayor Smith? Yes. And Eric?
Abstain.
All right, so 1, 2,
5
3, 4,
yeas.
5. 5 in favor, motion carries. All right, Ryan, thank you for attending.
See you, Ryan.
All right, next up is a site plan review. Site plan reviews, just so we know on the next two, B and C, site plan reviews are approved at the planning commission level, so they do not need to go to the city council. The first one is for William Vetter. I don't think he's here tonight. And this is for Allied Well Septic and Pump at 1037 Townsend Road. If you go to page 23 of the packet, this was his application for the site plan review. You can see that he's going to put up a building on that property that's less than the 10,000 square feet. He is already, it's zoned I-2. He already has a bunch of equipment on there. I think he's just trying to store some of that equipment indoors. I don't have any more information than that. Justin, have anything?
No, it's been, we known that Bill's been wanting to do something like this for a while, and he's been work with the city. He's already put up a fence. The site's been graded and prepped already. Put up some landscaping, and now he's looking for this building, which from what I understand would primarily hold like his equipment, his trucks, his vehicles, that sort of stuff. Protect them from the weather.
Good. All right, so as you can see in there, it looks like we're okay with approving the site plan review. So unless you have any other if you have any questions, this is time. Otherwise, we'd be looking for a motion to approve this site plan review.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Olson, second by Gusky, that we approve the site plan review for William Vetter for Allied Well and Septic and Pump at 1037 Townsend Road. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say no. Motion carry. And my manners are terrible here, you guys, so I think most of you have already met him, but I'll start with Josh, of course. Josh Fence is our new city administrator. This is actually his first planning commission meeting. He's already got, he's well into it. He's already had 2 city council meetings, so he's digging in real nice. Juliana Stoles is our new development director, community development and economic development director. She has been here for a total of 9 days?
8 days.
8 days. 8 days. So,
Who's counting?
yeah,
Still single digits.
yeah. So Juliana is probably gonna weigh in on some things, but mainly she's here just to listen. Okay, and get used to it. But this will be, obviously, this is her meeting in the future that
She's the new boss.
she's the new boss, yeah, right. Okay, so let's go on to the next site plan review. The site plan review for KMR Enterprises LLC. There is no address yet, but it's parcel number 34,43,2. This is actually, if you know of this property, this is for Alliance Industries out in the industrial park, and I think Justin probably has the most information about what's going on, although Robert from, where,
Robert with Albright Construction, we got Robert Mock with, who's our civil engineer.
okay. Do you guys, are there any more Bobs that are gonna show up here today?
Robert, that's easy to remember.
Bob's the owner, isn't he?
I got a handle on the names.
Yes, that's what I said, one of the Bobs.
Yeah, one of the Bobs. So, should we turn it over to them, or is it,
How about I give a quick summary?
okay, thank you.
Yeah. Let me find a good page to reference. Oh, you're already there. Okay, never mind. So page 38 in the packet, followed by the application and basically the zoning report and engineering report. This is what we commonly call is Alliance Industry out near our airport. One of our first, or the first new customers on our new sewer line out there, and kind of spurred that sewer extension out there. They did submit a site plan and some supporting material. You can go through and look. Looks like Rhonda is color coding things now, starting on page 40 through. And anything that's in green, the zoning department has approved as is. Anything in purple is they either have a question or they're seeing something kind of delinquent to setting or meeting the code. There's a few things in here you'll see that are purple. Have received a couple emails recently in the last couple days trying to address a number of these, I guess, I don't want to call them deficiencies, but just questions. Lighting plan, dumpster plan, I guess, more or less a better word. We had a conversation on number of trees. So we're making strides in the right direction, I would say, for clearing up all these ones that are kind of in question. Other than that, it's primarily an industrial use. There's going to be a lot of trucking moving out, in and out. We feel that that's a good fit for that area. Being right next to Highway 10, we feel that in the airport, things are going to be moving towards more kind of an industrial feel. Hangars look very similar to this type of building, so it fits in well. Besides that, they have a very robust, I guess, storm sewer system or ponds or bioretention basins. So I like to see that. And there's a number of trees that are already out there that will be clear cut, but there's going to be some that they'll just maintain and leave there green to kind of help shield some of that and just keep it green out there for us. That's it in a nutshell.
So, just to go along with that, then, if you look on page 44 of your packet, there are 7 conditions that Josh is going to pull up there. I want to just make sure that, and I can read them, but I just want to make sure that Robert and Bob, or Robert and Robert, you guys have seen these and you're okay with these conditions that are on there?
Yes, I'll talk to that quickly.
Can you just,
Microphone?
yeah, we tape these, so we want to make sure we can hear you.
Bob Mock has done most of the work on these items. So yeah, there's nothing here. And I believe we've submitted some of these ahead of the meeting. Exterior lighting, we have a photometrics plan that we submitted. Refuse and recycling area, we handled that. The vegetation item is not an issue. Number 4 is not an issue for us. So yeah, all of these, and the signage, I don't know that there'll be a monument sign. I think the building sign is probably gonna be what they're gonna use. I think there was maybe a question on whether or not there'd be a monument sign out there. Right now, that's not in the plans. That would be something that would be added in the future and would be something they would need to come back and probably get approval on if they were going to do that. There's no plans right now to do that, so yes, no issues with any of those items.
Okay. Anything else that you want to ask us before we look at approving this or discussing it?
Nothing off the top of my head. I think I spoke with Juliana a little bit today about some elevation possibilities. Bob Middlestat from Alliance Development was hoping to maybe mitigate some of those costs, but it's really up to the council how they want to approach that, or the committee. We do have a plan to meet the standard, but it's up to the committee if they want to, how they want to review that, I guess, so. But other than that, I think we've addressed the majority of, if not all of the items that were in purple here that needed addressing, so.
Okay. All right.
And just to follow up on that, that's in relation to the points on the proposed facade. And we spoke about making sure that it meets the intended requirements for including masonry or another listed material on the street-facing facade.
Okay. Okay. Commissioners, any questions?
I got a question.
Yeah, Eric, go
How
ahead.
many employees do you plan on having? I just noticed the parking, you got about, 20 spots? How many employees?
Parking had, I believe, 23 stalls, and I think
What was it, 23?
to have 20 maximum. The site is set up for, you want me to go up to the mic here?
Yeah, please. Eric should have told you that before.
Yeah, sorry.
Sure. Bob Mock with Mock 4 Engineering. Currently about 20 employees. We have 23 spots available. The way the site and the building's set up, it's set up for an equivalent addition, basically doubling the building to the west side. That's all accounted for in the stormwater management and the rest of the infrastructure for the site, including additional parking should they need it, so.
And then while I've got you, because this building's going to affect my job, believe it or not, I'm just wondering when you think you'll have it completed?
Well, the goal would be to have it completed before the first of the year.
Sorry, can you just?
First of the year.
Sorry.
Abstain from this one, too?
Yeah, you
Well-
might have to.
The goal, we have an NOI, so we feel like we can get going on site work fairly quickly. And the goal would be to have it done by the end of the year. it's gonna be a push to get it done that quickly, but that would be the hope, or it would be close. So that's kind of what we're shooting for. They have a lease at another building right now that they're operating out of, so there's some, working back and forth with making sure they have some space to move to, so,
So
that's
the
where it's at.
building completed first of the year, but maybe not fully transitioned into the new building, or that's probably not your end of
We're hoping
it?
that's the transition period. I was hoping for 6 months, but we've kind of condensed it down to about 5 months, so, we don't have a full schedule yet, but, yeah, that's the timeline right now, so,
Okay,
right around the first of the year.
all right, thank you.
All right, thanks. Again, anybody else have any comments or questions? If not, we'd be looking for a motion. Anybody?
Motion to approve the site plan for Alliance Industries with the conditions as outlined in the staff report.
All right. We have a motion by Veliker,
Second.
second by Gusky, that we approve of this site plan review. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say no. Motion carried. All right, good luck, guys.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank you.
good project.
Good to see it going. Okay, 4D is ordinance number 03-2025. I have that it's on page 249 of your packet, the actual ordinance. Juliana, do you want to just explain this one? You explained it to me beforehand, so I know you.
Yes, so this would be amending the ordinance to only allow for duplexes for two-family dwellings in the R2 and R3 districts, whereas if you look on the, at the memorandum and the current list of permitted use and conditional uses, it's currently allowed in the agricultural R1 and B1 through B4 districts, as well as in the I1 district. So we'd like to refocus this to just permit duplexes to be within the R2 and R3 districts, given that certain neighborhoods lend themselves more so to single-family dwellings, and this gives this better aligns with our future land use map and the intentions behind permitting duplexes in those spaces.
Great. Thank you. Anybody have any questions on that? Henry, go ahead.
Okay, so these are permitted in R2 and R3. Right, we can't ever legislate for everything. So in the future, if we do get something that comes forward, do we have the ability to do a conditional use in these other districts if it seems to make sense, or, something comes forward where maybe we don't want to be so rigid?
What are you,
Well,
give me an example. So
well,
give us an example. So if you
okay,
have
let's
one.
say Churchill Street. And we get a project, a small, group of 5 duplexes, just right off the street, tastefully done. And, put in there next to some of the other, again, I don't know what the zoning is. Let's say it's B3, some B designation. Could we have that happen on Churchill Street, if it made sense?
Justin's first of all gonna.
I
look
bet
at
you
the
it's
example
hard, it's
and
probably
see-
hard too.
Yeah.
It's outdated, it still has that high.
Oh, okay.
If passed, we would
Designation on it.
You know?
if passed, we would just then ask that they would rezone that parcel if it fits with the existing uses in the surrounding lots, to then allow for that to be an R2 or an R3 parcel.
So we have the ability to rezone it.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think the opposite was an issue, of course. If have a single-family resident R1 in an area and somebody can just put up a duplex in that area, I'm not sure that probably really fits with the neighborhood. So I think that's what we're really trying to limit here. Yeah. Okay? Any other questions there? This is an ordinance change, so this does have to be recommended to council. So if you're going to make a motion, it would be to recommend 03/2025 to council. Anybody?
I would make that exact motion, what you just said.
Thanks. Motion by Olson,
Second.
second by Waller, that we recommend to council ordinance number 03/2025, amending chapter 17.104 for permitted uses and conditional uses. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say no. Motion carried. All right, next item, which is our last action item for tonight. It's discussion and possible action on a request for a conditional use to allow as a related use the operation of an agricultural education learning center incorporating the use of goats as a means controlling invasive species of vegetation on the site of the educational project area. And Russ Buckowitz is here tonight, and he has, I understand he has about a 15-minute presentation for us. You, a lot of that you already have in your packet, so you've probably had a good chance to take a look at it. So, Russ, you're on. You're on. Let us know if you need help getting that set up.
Yeah, where, Josh?
He's got to log in there.
Should be no password.
Yeah, I just gotta get,
Just hit enter right now.
oh, it's asking for a password.
Yeah, you wear so many hats. You're like 12 feet tall.
What is that book, The Man with? There's a book, kids' book.
Man with 10 hats. Yeah,
And like monkeys in a tree, take them from him or something.
that sounds like a Dr. Seuss.
It wasn't, but
He had a tall hat.
there we go.
Okay,
You mean with the presentation? Should be.
hopefully this will go smoothly. Good evening. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Russ Butkowitz, and I reside at 124 East Lake Street in Waupaca. And along with my wife, I am the co-owner of a 34-acre parcel known as the Oz Natural Area Center for Biodiversity Education, located in Waupaca's I-2 Heavy Industrial District along the northeast municipal boundary.
Hey, Russ, can you pull that microphone up? You're a little taller.
Is that better?
Yep.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. As a family practice physician who has committed 35 years of my life to caring for the people, children, veterans, and the health of our community, I'm here tonight with an urgent appeal to you on behalf of the public health of our community. Our woodlands of our public and private lands are under attack from invasive species that not only threaten their long-term viability, but pose an immense human health concern. That's Japanese barberry right there that you see. As your packet indicates, we are coming to you tonight with a proposal to incorporate the intermittent use of goats as an organic method of invasive species control in the natural area. Let the record reflect that following a request from former City Administrator Aaron Jensen for his review,
in his memorandum dated May 15th of 2025, City Attorney Stephen Sorensen concluded that he sees, quote, "no reason that the City of Waupaca Plan Commission should not allow the use of the property as an educational environmental site with the addition of goats for weed control," unquote. But the reasons for our appeal are greater than goats and invasive species, but also about human and environmental health. In 2004, we began articulating our concerns to city leadership about invasive species affecting the natural area as well as the surrounding community woodlands. We became particularly alarmed by the growing infestation of Japanese barberry after learning of its relationship to black-legged ticks, which are also known as deer ticks, facilitating explosions in deer tick populations and their disease-carrying capability. Black-legged ticks are responsible for transmitting Lyme disease along with other tick-borne illnesses to humans. These slides show an 8-fold increase in tick populations for barberry-infested woods and a 500% increase in Lyme-infected ticks, which translates to substantial increases for infection in humans. In 2010, we began expressing interest in incorporating grazing animals such as goats into the management of the natural area, not only to reduce the amount of barberry and other invasive plants, but also to reduce the amount of cancer-causing herbicide necessary to control them. Herbicides are associated with multiple health impacts for humans, even at low levels of exposure, as shown on this slide, and can include respiratory and neurologic disorders as well as cancer. Agency and conservation professionals from NRCS, DNR agree that herbicide use can be reduced and its risks minimized by the use of biologic control like goats. When it comes to caring for the citizens of Waupaca, human health, the land, water, and the creatures that share our community, it is best to have more than one tool in your toolbox. While chemical control can be an important component of invasive species control, it carries significant risk for the individual applying herbicide, but also risks to the general human population through accumulation in ground and drinking water supplies. The Central Sand region of Wisconsin, of which Waupaca is part, is particularly vulnerable to groundwater and drinking water contamination due to its porous soils and shallow groundwater table. That's the Central Sands region right there. Municipal wells 5 and 6 have a history of nitrate contamination and can be an indicator for risk of pesticide contamination as well. The mission of the Oz Natural Area and Center for Biodiversity Education is to educate urban and rural visitors in the wise stewardship of our biologically diverse central Wisconsin landscape for climate health, the health of our native flora and fauna, water, air, soil, food, and people. Our environmental education efforts began in 1996 when we purchased the property and made it the first site for the River Ridge Trail. We began by hosting small groups of kids, school kids, to come and explore the scenic woodlands, the giant oaks, and the granite rock formations that tied to the area's glacial past. The Oz Natural Area is a concept that grew out of curator Kari Esbenson's employment as assistant coordinator for Project Wild with Wisconsin DNR, her role with University of Wisconsin Extension Department of Community, Natural Resource, and Economic Development for Portage County, and her efforts to establish the Waupaca County Environmental Education Initiative, which sought to establish partnerships with area schools and provide them with nearby outdoor learning opportunities. In 1997, we dedicated it as a memorial to express the desire, with the expressed desire to provide a low-impact outdoor urban environmental education demonstration site. In 2008, it became a destination for UW Extension's Environmental Youth Connections program. In 2020, it became a formal demonstration forest with Golden Sands Resource Conservation and Development Council with approval of signage by Waupaca Zoning Department. Among our environmental education goals for the property have been to demonstrate sustainable land and water conservation practices that not only favor the biologic diversity and health of the property, but also people. Among these have been drawing attention to water quality contamination and impacts of pesticides upon humans, wildlife, and non-target vegetation. Kari was also employed by the Wisconsin chapter of the Nature Conservancy shortly after completing her graduate school through the Institute of Environmental Studies at UW-Madison, with emphasis on water resource management, environmental education, ecosystem restoration, and management. She incorporates all of her skill sets as curator for the natural area and in her outreach, partnership building, and education efforts, including this past year with Waupaca Foundry, the City of Waupaca, and Wisconsin DNR's Green Tier Climate Charter Program to help assist the Foundry in its efforts to purchase energy and carbon credits to offset its carbon emissions. In her role, she is also working to enable the Oz Natural Area, the City of Waupaca, as well as other area private, nonprofit, and public woodland owners to participate in the carbon credit market and sell credits to generate revenue to assist in the long-term care of their forests. In order to do so, they must demonstrate a concept of additionality, which the Oz Natural Area possesses because of its current I-2 zoning designation. Today, we are reiterating our desire to retain our I-2 zoning while intermittently grazing our goats as needed on the Oz property to complement the extensive mechanical and chemical treatments that we have utilized. As you can see, Oz has been a multifaceted outdoor environmental education institution since 1997, and its use as a private educational institution should be grandfathered in. Our plan is to retain the parking lot, as you can see up there, that's on Constance Road, that has serviced the site for many years. It is more than adequate to accommodate the parking for the small groups of people that we would have, as well as individual tours that we intend to continue to provide while respecting the environmental sensitivity of the site. We are here for transparency as well as to educate others and to assure all that what we want for the goat's presence is to be a positive experience for the community and our neighbors. Per the restrictive covenants established in 1997, our goal and purpose is to continue to foster the principles of ecological diversity, environmental education, and neighborhood sensitivity. The goats will number no more than 9 and will be managed per the proposal summary on page 1 of your packet. I can read that if you'd like.
Yeah, go ahead,
Okay.
Russ.
So the goat's location at all times will conform to the provisions of the zoning ordinances of the city and be situated in securely fenced conditions greater than 100 feet from any residence. The goats will be kept in a clean and sanitary condition and maintained to eliminate objectionable odors. The goats will be contained within secure fencing to prevent their escape, including 100 by 100 by 5 foot high woven wire fence when herd managers are not immediately present. The enclosure will be more than 140 feet from the nearest property line and has dense vegetation between the fence and the property line, providing the neighbors with significant visual barrier. In addition, they will be contained within a solar-powered electronetting, or they'll be contained within solar-powered electronetting fencing when grazing on other areas of the property under the careful observation of the herd and property managers. All fencing will be backed up by a GPS fencing system with solar collars on the goats. And the map is right there. You can see where the planned goat area is. Mobile housing will be provided within the permanent woven wire fencing to provide water and shelter as necessary. Goats will be used in an intermittent fashion and primarily housed at our farm in St. Lawrence Township. I have a little video too that I'd just like to So I'll just summarize. The video is actually of our neighbor that would be the closest to the goats. And she comes at it with, she grew up with goats and works in ag and sustainability. She actually welcomes the goats and would prefer the goats over the use of the herbicides and synthetic chemicals. And she's just, I mean, she is very enthusiastic about our bringing the goats out. I'm sorry I can't, I don't know why I can't play that, but I can. So, and that's all I have. So I'm open to taking questions.
Thanks, Russ.
Sure.
Anybody help him to do that, or you can't? Can you see that, Juliana? Is there a way to run that, or is it?
Is this going to be a recommendation to council?
Actually, we're gonna try and do it tonight, so no, it's not gonna be a recommendation, because if we recommend it to council, they won't be able to do it right.
No, don't do that one, Juliana. Go back where you were. Try the traffic cone one.
What one?
We just
That
want
one.
to take charge.
That it?
Go take charge.
Are we gonna get sound too?
Fix it.
Just cheap, just one beer per.
He's
MacGyver.
ready hand.
Put another hat on.
McBaron's.
Gee. You're gonna have to sit on the floor.
Not gonna walk out, not gonna fit through the door.
No sound, no. We're close. Oh, maybe you have to turn the volume up on the TV?
Now I'll give it a shot.
My name is Jessica Roth. I live at N3379 Constance Road with my husband and our two dogs. They live right next to the Oz Demonstration Forest, where they help teach us about the forest, about different species of plants, and things like that, to provide education for more people to get involved in the community. I grew up on a little homestead just south of here. My mom raised the goats and stuff like that. So we understand the importance of using natural options versus chemical harmful options that would harm more ecosystems.
There's the train.
And when it comes to preserving our natural land,
It is an industrial area.
Yes,
there is some bittersweet, there is some
17 times a day.
Serious? What are you doing?
We counted.
Okay.
Number 2 green.
harmful plants behind us. They can inhibit and it can grow onto properties and things like that, causing more issues for other homeowners and things like that. We have subdivision that's coming down the road over there that we want to be able to promote more people coming out so that way they can be a part of the nature, be a part of the forest, and be a joy in the atmosphere that we have out here. They would like to, the opportunity, and I would love to have the opportunity to have my neighbors bring their goat friends. My neighbors would be
Goat friends.
that this is their opportunity, which would be super amazing to support them in this. It would be to help the forest and help use a natural thing versus harmful synthetic chemicals that can actually impact ecosystems like other frogs, other deer, etc. We don't want to harm the ecosystem. We want to help the world and help the earth that provides to us. So, and that's to help, and I would love the opportunity to support them.
Russ, just so I know, so she lives at where Mike and Mary Tennant used to live?
Yes, exactly. She and her husband Brandon.
Okay,
Yeah,
so on Concord Road.
yeah. So they're like right there.
Okay, you were showing, and I'm assuming it was just on there for purposes of your presentation, but you were showing a sign, a picture of a sign on your, when you started your presentation. You don't actually have that sign on your property,
Yeah,
do
we
you?
do.
You do?
Yeah, it was approved by the city.
Okay. Okay. Where is that? I don't know that I've ever seen it.
Road right by the parking lot.
It does, huh?
So that, where it says demonstration, of course, this is the one you're,
Yeah, so is that on Constance?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, it's parallel to the road. It had originally been placed perpendicular, and then I think there were some concerns about whether that was going to visually impair traffic, so you asked us to turn it 90 degrees, which we did.
so it's like on the corner of
It's
Highway
right
K
where,
and,
no, it's actually down Constance where the parking lot is, so the Jessica Roth's house, Mary Tennant's house, and then there's, our property is right adjacent to theirs, immediately to the south. There's a parking lot there, sort of, and then that sign is on the south side of that parking lot.
okay.
You can actually see a little bit of the gravel in the background of that picture.
I'm not trying to steal questions here, but I have a few that I want to keep asking him. If you guys have something, go ahead. Russ, you want to get going, you want to get the goats on this property as soon as possible.
We would like to, yes, because we've, it's, every growing season is one more year of stuff setting seed, and it's just, it's hard to keep up.
Succession takes over if you don't meet.
It does, I mean, you could, if you look at where Jessie is giving her presentation, that's buckthorn in the background, and there's some strands of Asian bittersweet that are hanging up in the air, and, I mean, I don't want to toot our own horn, but I mean, I think we've made a lot of progress with barberry and with areas of the bittersweet, but when you walk around there, you can find those areas where we've been working, and then there's an area where we haven't gotten to for a number of years, and that looks kind of ugly.
We would, that would be kind of cool to see what you've done. So if you want to give us a tour.
I would be delighted to have people come out as they would like, when we could arrange for that.
Okay, so, Russ, obviously you know that, we've had a staff turnover and so on, and so we've come up with a plan that would allow you to be able to graze goats on your property. And we think you can do it fairly quickly, but we want to make sure that you're on board with that.
Okay.
So I want to just read you read what you said you wanted, and I'm going to read you what we think the proposal should look like for
Okay.
this year, for 2025.
Okay.
Let's see if we can work through this,
Okay, sure.
all right, so this is, it's got 6 things on here. Each one of the commissioners has this in front of them, although Josh and I have added a little bit to that since we handed it out to you. But number 1 would be the use is limited to no more than 10 total days during 2025. Let me just go through these things. And then no more than 10 goats on the site at any time. You said 9, so it sounds like it's okay. You would have to do a site plan because you are putting up a temporary fence. And since you said that you're also going to have mobile housing on there, we would also need to see a site plan of where you plan on putting that mobile housing. I'm assuming that mobile housing means it's on wheels?
I think what we probably would use is probably something like, I don't know,
Or just like a lean-to type thing, or?
probably like a calf hutch or a couple of calf hutches. You
Okay,
know, those you can kind of
Oh.
pick them up and move them.
so like, they're like fiberglass? or-
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But we would need to see where you were going to put those on the property. So that's the idea of the site plan. Uh, The goats must be fully contained at all times by a physical fence. Geo-fencing may be used in addition, but is not a substitute, meaning if you're, you know, and you've said that that's what you plan on doing too.
Right,
There'll be-
exactly. It's, I mean, the GPS fence is intended as a backup. We've talked to a number of people about this. There's a woman that does goat grazing and brush reduction as a commercial enterprise, and she actually uses the GPS fencing as well. She loves it because it helps to keep track of the goats too. But she always puts electronetting fencing around her animals, in part to protect them from predators. She says predators and teenagers. But, you know, I mean, I think you want to have, you know, like you say, you want some sort of a physical barrier. And we wouldn't, our thought is if we're using electronetting, we want to be on site when that's being used, so that we have, you know, that we're close by to be able to observe them, make sure that nothing untoward is going on. Because we don't want anything, you know, we want, like I said, we want this to be an absolutely positive experience for everybody. We don't want any, I mean, and, you know, to that end, where we have them at our farm, we've never had an issue. And we haven't had goats wandering out from under our fences. I know they're famous for that kind of stuff, but we have Nubians, and they tend to stay relatively close to home.
Okay. Number 5 on here, a review will take place at the end of 2025 after the growing season to determine if future use should be considered. And that will give you and staff, of course, opportunity to look at our zoning and our requirements for allowing goats in the I-2 district. And plus it will give us the opportunity to judge how well this works on your property.
So there would be a review by
Planning Commission.
Planning Commission?
Yeah, with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And,
And
okay, go
you
ahead,
want
sorry.
to, that's okay. You want to respond to that one?
No, I just, one of the questions that I would have as far as the limitation of 10 days, is that sort of for this pilot period?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so, and it's 10 days total?
10 days total. No,
Okay.
temporary, isn't that the days, the number of days that you would recommend it? 10 days.
No, I never said anything about it, number of days.
I heard that somewhere.
No, I just, what we would, you know, our intention is that we would bring goats down, graze them, and probably most of the time, we'd return them to our farm at the end of the day. We wouldn't even have them overnight. So.
So most of the time, when you go home, they go home.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be the idea. So,
So you have like a,
trailer.
being nosy, you got a great big trailer that,
No, it's not a great big trailer. They're goats.
okay. Okay.
It's a horse trailer.
All right,
Yeah.
all right. So let me finish. There's one more here that, and then we can go back. Now, I have to tell you that this has not been discussed with the other commissioners here. This is just coming from me and some help from staff.
Okay.
Okay? So, this approval is really only for 2025 only and doesn't guarantee future use, meaning that if you go back to number 5, we're gonna look at how well it works and try to formulate, if it seems like it's a good idea and everything seems to be going smoothly, then we would be looking at approving it for future use.
Okay.
My hope is that we only have to do this once, you know, I mean, so we're gonna do it temporary for 2025. Everything goes well, we approve it for 2026 and all future years too.
Okay.
But we'll have the direction, the specifically what you need to do to be able to do it in all future years too.
Sure. Sure.
Okay?
Makes sense.
Okay, so the 6 items that we talked about, I don't know if you want me to read it again, or it seems like the one that you had the question about the most was number 1, and that had to do with the 10 days.
Well, just that I can appreciate where you're, this is a new thing, we're gonna, try something out, that, and so that you wanna limit the number of days that we would do this activity. I guess for future years, what I would wonder about, again, assuming that everything goes okay, is that we would, potentially have the chance to graze them more than that. Because, what you're saying basically is we'd have 2 or 3 days each month for the growing season, which isn't going to provide us with that much, a much grazing ability.
In your opinion, is 10 days enough to show any effect?
Well, we have some research that shows that other places, well, almost all the ones that we looked at was it was 9 days, actually, less than 10 days. So, I'm sorry, you asked Russ a question, but I just wanted to, I shouldn't have chimed in, but Russ, your opinion.
Well, I think in a 10-day period, if you have the goats concentrated in, a small enough area, that would work. I don't know as far as like they just had goats up in Iola at the village along the river walk there. But I think they had a lot more than 10 goats, which is part of the formula as well. So, as long as it was a small enough area, you could, I'm sure you could see that there would be some, improvement in the area that they were grazing. The question really is we've got 34 acres that we want to manage, and there are, there would be more areas that we would like to get the goats to. But I can appreciate, that this is a new thing. You want to make sure that you're being careful about things.
So and again, we're looking at this as a temporary ordinance, which is kind of what the Village of Iola actually did. Although the Village of Iola is a lot different than this. The Village of Iola is on their own property. It's not on private property. But, so that's kind of where we're at right now. If we were to put together an ordinance to allow this to still happen in 2025, we have obligations to rewrite the ordinance. It has to be posted in the newspaper and out on the street. We could be talking 30, 60, 90 days before we could even approve this. So what we're trying to do is get them to be able to do it in 2025 by using a temporary ordinance, by using these 6 items that we're talking about. I'm not saying that we're stuck on any one of these 6, but these were just things that we came up with that we feel will allow them to show how well it will work on their property, and it will also be in good faith for our residents too, because we don't even necessarily, normally, if you remember back when, some of you haven't been here as long as others, but remember back when chickens in the city and pot-bellied pigs, which we didn't allow, but we did allow chickens, we did a study on that. We took our time to make sure that the community wanted that. And we probably still want to do that even with goats. But this would be a good test if we could do something on a temporary basis. And we could say, hey, see, they've already done this. And so maybe the study doesn't have to be as long or as as large as what we had to do with the chickens and so on. So that's our thought behind it. I think it's a great idea too, quite honestly. I just, we're tasked with making sure that it makes sense for our community. And that's what we're here for.
Can I just comment? So as far as the city ordinance goes, there is, when it comes to animal regulation, I believe it's 26.05. There's an exception in there as far as the keeping of animals, including goats, and private educational institutions are one of those exceptions. So and Attorney Sorensen said that as an educational institution, we would, likely be permitted under other uses, the 17.104. So I'm not really sure that there needs to be any new ordinance. And
Well,
I'm not
Russ,
even sure that we would need to accept any restrictions. I, would look at that as doing that in the spirit of cooperation and understanding that you want to look out for the other residents in the community.
I would agree to disagree with you.
Okay?
That an ordinance or zoning needs to be changed. We've done our research. We haven't had a whole lot of time either. We just got this from you just a couple weeks ago. We have new staffing.
Yes, I
We have
understand.
some really good people in our department. We've done I think staff and I have done our due diligence in trying to get this to this planning commission with a plan. And so we can argue all day about what an ordinance says or what it doesn't say, but we believe that there are certain things that need to be done if we're going to allow this on a permanent basis, on a seasonal basis. So, so that's why we came up with this proposal with these 6 items on here, and we could discuss that as a commissioner level. I just want to make sure that you are okay with those 6 items that I listed, and does that fit what you're trying to do and just try and think of 2025. Does that fit for you in 2025?
Well, I'd like to, it sounds like what you're saying is different than what Attorney Sorensen had said.
Attorney Sorensen isn't here tonight. This
I
is
know
the
he's not
planning
here
commission.
tonight. Well, it's my understanding that he was going to be here when Aaron had originally communicated with us that he would be here to guide the planning commission through this legal material.
Attorney Sorensen is not here tonight. We've discussed what we're doing tonight with Attorney Sorensen. You're stating one thing that he said. we've talked to Attorney Sorensen, we feel like we're going down the right route here. So, I mean, to tell you the truth, we can talk about these 6 items, but I think what we're trying to do here is bend over backwards to try and help you so that you can get something done in 2025. We've bent our rules already by even having you at the planning commission in July, so,
Well,
and I'm not gonna argue about that. I'm
Okay,
just telling you.
I was told by your representative, Attorney Sorensen, I needed to have the packet in by the 17th.
And he was
Which
wrong.
Well,
He
I
was
can't help
wrong.
that. He's your representative. It's
No,
what
he
I
is
was
not our
told.
representative.
Yes,
He's
he
our
is.
city attorney. I don't even know why you were talking to him. He's not our representative. The Economic Development Department is our representative to City Planning Commission. It should have been approved by we always want
I mean, I
things
appreciate that
30
you-
days ahead of time,
You know,
okay? So I don't want to get into an argument about it. I'm trying to help you.
I understand.
So let's not sabotage, don't try and sabotage it here when I'm trying to help you.
I appreciate that. I'm just saying, from my perspective, this is what I was told by the city attorney. Why would I, as a citizen, think anything different? I'm just following the rules that were sent to me. That's what I was doing, and so then
Okay.
when somebody says, you're bending the rules, well, I'm going, well, I thought I was following the rules, and that's where I'm coming from.
Okay, so you want me to read these 6 items again? I'm gonna go back to this.
I
Because
think
I'm
we're-
gonna call the question here in a second.
Sure, if you'd read them again, that would be
Okay,
great.
all right. Use is limited to no more than 10 total days during 2025. No more than 10 goats on a site at any time. A site plan must be submitted and approved, including a temporary fence permit and also including the site plan for the mobile housing. The goats must be fully contained at all times by a physical fence. Geofencing may be used in addition, but not as a substitute. A review will take place at the end of 2025 to determine if future use should be considered. And number 6, the final one, the approval for 2025 is only for 2025 and doesn't guarantee future use. So meaning that we will take a look at it at the end of this year and we'll see if it makes sense for us to move forward.
I guess one other question that I would have is for the area of the more permanent fence with the woven wire, I need to apply for a permit for that as well, correct?
You would have to, it looks like, from what I understand, the only thing that you would have to do before you could have the goats on that property is apply to the Economic Development Department for a site plan review. So you would have to draw up a nice site plan that shows where the fence is gonna be on your property, including the mobile housing. And
Okay.
you're not allowed to put goats on there until that site plan has been reviewed by the City Planning and Economic Development Department.
Okay. And again, I don't want to take everybody's time with that, but where we would put the temporary housing would be inside that goat area, and that would be the woven wire fence. That's the more permanent thing. So I'm, should I talk to Juliana about
Yeah,
that?
if you give her a call
Okay.
and
Okay.
tomorrow or
Okay.
we'll be in, City Hall is closed on Friday, obviously, but it's the 4th. Juliana, you plan on being in tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Juliana is also just moving her stuff into her rental too, so she's quite busy trying to get acclimated with the city, but yeah. Yeah, so she can show you what that site plan,
Okay.
help you
Fair
out
enough.
with that
That'd be
site
good.
plan.
That'd be wonderful.
I actually think can you actually do that online too?
Yes.
site plan review.
Everything
too.
be submitted through our online portal.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she could show you that also,
Okay,
if that helps you.
sure,
Okay.
sure. All right.
So are you okay with those items?
Yes, Mayor, I'm okay with those items. I'd like them to be a little more flexible, but
Well, tell me what you would like to be more flexible.
Well, what I guess my concern is that I could do a lot of work out there, putting up fence and getting things organized, and then at the end of 2025, be told, well, you can't keep doing this. So there's just that there's that bit of uncertainty about things, and like I said, I mean, I can appreciate where you guys are coming from. I'm hoping that I'm not faced with that, disappointment at the end.
I'm hoping you're not facing that too,
Sure.
to tell you the truth.
Okay.
I mean, again, we're just trying to protect the community.
No, I get it. I
Yeah.
totally get it.
Yeah.
I mean, I can appreciate that, so.
Yep. Henry, go ahead.
So Mayor, our action, we would authorize staff to approve the site plan, right?
Yeah, well, we would be,
So you don't have to come back here, if I'm understanding it, and conceivably get this done in a couple business days. Is that-
yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
And I don't know, are you taking questions now?
Yeah, absolutely. I hogged it.
I really appreciate Russ's presentation. It's well thought out and did a nice job. I hear your 10-day concern. It says 10 total days. We heard goats are coming in the morning, we're gonna observe them, we're gonna go home to dinner. Goats are coming home. Could we live with a log where we give them 240 hours to graze? That's 10 full days. Because the growing season is, you said 3 months, right? So
Well,
this-
yeah, I mean, I think,
Henry, you're amazing.
realistically, we still got to build I got to apply for the permits, we got to build the fence, get the housing in there. So it's not like, I'm not going to get goats on there
Right away.
by
Okay.
July 5th. That's not,
I'm complicating it, but I wanted to try to
I appreciate that.
show good faith. I think we're all trying to go to the dance together and see if it works.
Sure.
And we'll have a good outcome. You guys are conscientious, you want to be good stewards of the land.
You.
I think it's probably all gonna work out, but then we've got to figure out, this is a whole new thing, so it probably has, I'm kind of feeling it does need to be in an ordinance if we're gonna allow it to be.
Henry, I think your math is a little off, though, but unless you're counting, you're counting off 24 hour?
24-hour days, to say, okay, today, we're only grazing 6 hours, so you used a quarter of a day. That gives him more time, he can get more area, and, I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, now we're defining what a day is, if it's not 24 hours.
That's where I was
Okay, a
going
day is
with
only
my
10
original
days,
statement.
Russ,
It's like,
or 10 hours, you can only be out
how are we
for 10 hours.
documenting 10 days?
Well, we're gonna,
And can 10 days be
Okay.
effective?
I got two things to say. One, use your microphone. Two,
Oh,
10
sorry.
10 days to me seems a little tight. If this is supposed to be a demonstration, we want to show or see how this can really effectively take out invasive plants. That just feels 10 days is tight for me. He's not going to leave them there too long because once they get done with the barberry, then it's going to move on to other things. That's going to probably do a little more harm to the forest. So I don't know what the sweet spot is, but to me, 10 days feels a little tight.
okay, so again, I think the hours is probably complicated, but it sounds like you and Justin and Dana are all on the page where you would like to see more than 10 days? So,
As long as all the other 5 conditions are met.
okay, yeah, okay.
If that
So
makes sense.
what-
I want it to be effective. I want it to be a demonstration that's going to be effective, not just, we see a couple nibbles of some barberry going.
Exactly.
But let's see what these goats can do. And if it's under, if he meets all the other criteria, I don't see why we can't relax that at least a little bit to where we can see how effective it could be. And again, 25 is 25, and that's this growing season. And we're a quarter into the growing season, to say the least. At least I'm mowing my lawn a lot. I don't know if you guys are.
Oh, God.
It's going good.
I got a question.
I mean,
Yeah.
are you following me? What, I
I
guess
am,
where
yeah.
I'm going there?
Yeah, I am. I am.
Instead of
I'm
a-
trying to work with Russ on this.
Yeah, instead of a log, I mean, did you say you're gonna be having the goats there like an average of 8 hours a day?
I don't, I think it's going to depend a little bit on, we'll have to go up to the farm, get the goats in the trailer, bring them down, let them out, get them up to the site.
So it could be shorter, could be longer, you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll, some of it would depend. So of course, some of it would depend on what the weather is and stuff too.
I was just thinking if they did that whole hour thing, then,
I think you complicate things with hours, to tell you the truth. I
Yeah.
would rather just see you increase the days. Hey, I'm the mayor of compromise, so let's figure something out here, all right?
what about 30?
That's actually, that was the number that I was thinking. As long as Russ meets the other 5 areas, the rest of the criteria,
I think that would be.
give the goats a chance.
Yeah. Would you be comfortable with
Yeah,
that?
I would be, because again, I think that it's, by the time I get all the other mechanics worked out, it's probably, August, by the time I've got that all
So what do
pitched
you,
up.
the rest of the season, I mean, obviously, does that include all the way, when is it effective? All the way through the growing season, or?
Yeah, I mean,
beyond?
we could probably, that, we certainly would be able to graze through a good portion of September. Depending, I think some of it depends, we'll be learning about this as we go along too. But I know that the goats, they like buckthorn, and they'll strip the bark off the buckthorn. So when, if there isn't other forage around.
That's a good thing, by the way. Buckhorn is not,
Yeah,
is not good.
that won't hurt my feelings at all. So, I think that we'd have to sort of see about that, but certainly we would be able to have them out. They're mainly, they're really browsers. I mean, they're going after leaves and twigs and buds, and, I mean, they'll eat grass if they don't have other stuff, but if they've got other stuff, they're gonna eat that probably in preference. Buckthorn is one of their favorite things.
So if we say, again, it looked like everybody was shaking on 30 days, are we talking 30 consecutive days?
No, because we probably won't have them out there every day, I mean, some of that's gonna be dependent on our energy levels and,
Your schedule, yeah.
yeah, our schedule.
Yeah.
But we'll get them out there, and, that's, my hope is to, put them out there and get them to go to work.
Yeah, I would think we just change that 10 to a 30, and then it's 30 total days during 2025.
That would be great.
So, the one thing, and without digging into it too much, but it sounds like you'd be okay with this. Our ordinance do not allow more than 10 consecutive days. Okay, so you would have to remove them for at least a day.
I don't think that'll be a problem.
So you're okay with that?
Yeah, I think I'm
Okay.
fine with that.
All right,
I think we'll get tired of hauling them back and forth all the time, and
all right. So
good
you're,
to have a day off here and there,
so you're okay with the 30 days?
yes.
And then you were okay with all the other 5?
Yeah, I am. Given, I mean, given what the community's concerns are and, your concerns for the community, I get it. Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay. All right. Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make that motion that we allow this temporary pilot program with all of these 6 points that are listed that we discussed.
With one change to the,
Yes, with the one change from 10 days to 30 days total during 2025.
well, and then there's one other change too, that under the site number 3, it also has to include mobile housing.
Oh, okay,
You
yep.
okay with that too?
Yeah, in the motion, yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, so we have a motion by Eric.
There's
second
7 contingencies
by-
then?
What's that?
7 contingencies?
There's 6.
Just 6, okay.
6 contingent.
Okay, sorry.
Second by Gusky. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Against, say no. Motion carried. Russ, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Make sure you stop in and see Juliana.
Yeah, I will. And then, when should I look to come back to Planning Commission to review the record? You know, in 2026, when would you want me to?
Yeah, I mean, as soon as you're finished for the year, I think that's a perfect time.
Okay, and would you like before and after pictures, of that kind of stuff? That's what you'd
Sure,
like?
sure.
Okay.
I think,
Russ, all knowledge is good.
Yeah.
I think if you were to invite, maybe not as a city planning commission, but if you were to individually invite some of our commissioners out there, that would be kind of cool too.
So, anybody that would like to come out, I can give you would you like a phone number? You want an email address?
We can get that.
I can,
Yeah, we have that.
yeah, why don't you just email me and we'll make arrangements to get you out there and have you take a look at things. I mean, you can see what we're doing in terms of our mechanical and chemical methods right at the present time. You know, and I can show you our next door neighbor's property as sort of a before and after to give you some idea of what things look like when it's not treated. It's pretty awful. So, okay.
Awesome. Russ, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Appreciate
don't
it.
forget your flash drive
Yeah,
or
I
whatever
will.
you have in there.
Okay.
All right, have a good night. We're not done yet, people, so don't leave. We got a little bit more yet. Let me get back to my stuff. Okay, that was the last action item. We don't have any discussion items, but if you, under the reports, again, I'm kind of winging this here, of course. But if you go back to, 274 is where the reports start. That shows you, that first one is showing you how many permits were issued for basically the month of May there. And then right below that shows you what those permits were for. I don't know if you see any, you guys had this in your packet, so you hadn't obviously had a time to look at it. I don't know, Josh, and Juliana, you guys have both only been here a little bit, but is there any of those that stick out to you at all? Again, we have, and then if you look on page 276, another pie chart with other permits that we have handed out and all the different properties follow below that. I know I'm not doing as good a job as Jarrett does with this, you guys, but we'll get there. And on page 280, again, these has to do with sign permits and zoning changes and certified survey maps. You can see the zoning office has been really busy, especially, it has been busy starting May 1st, and you can see how busy they have been. And again, go to page 282. These are the permits for plumbing, mechanical, electrical, so on and so forth. And they follow there. Okay, and we have a little bit of update on development in town. I was told, I think we probably said, well, maybe not at the last meeting, but the first permit for River North for a single-family house out there, of course, has been pulled. And so we're expecting that basement to be dug fairly soon.
Correct.
If you haven't been out there, it's the curb has been put in there already, and also the first layer of asphalt has also been put down there too, so you can actually see what it's gonna look like out there. That's kind of cool. We don't know any more about the apartments on the corner of Badger and State Street. Yeah, we were told that those will be done by the end of the summer. Not sure yet. That looks like they're gonna have to work hard to get it done by the end of the summer. But it's starting to look really good there. You heard about the Alliance development. That's finally, looks like it's going forward here. That's been a long time. We did put in
Yes.
sewer so that
Yep.
they could do that out there. You think of any other?
Godfrey Way Apartments, they're still grading on that, so
Oh, yeah.
they're still active on that side, so.
And that's Ticor also, so the same one that's putting in the single-family home is getting ready to put the apartments up right next to where the bus garage is out there. I can't think of any other things.
Carousel.
Right, yeah, by Carousel there too, yeah. All right, anything else for the good of the meeting tonight? We'd be looking for a motion to adjourn then.
So
Move to
moved.
adjourn. Second?
Motion by Barron, second by Olson, that we adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say no. Motion carried. We're adjourned at 6:42 PM.